giant's blood, petrified blood, from my research, that is going to affect the entire world and every single thing around us until our spiritual future. And a lot of you felt something was really coming. I have information today that I need to present to you. Nobody else is presenting. And I pray that certain things will come to me. And I also just feel like some things lay on my lap. But I want you all here to determine what you think about this information. Now, before we get into it, the first thing I want to show here is that bloodstones and then crystals and amulets and the crosses that had crystals back years ago, and this probably from 200 to 300 time period, this is what they call the bloodstone. And you can see the red on it, and this was a reptile creature that apparently was worshipped back then. How does this tie into the supercomputer? We'll get to that. Bloodstone is a form of crypto-crystalline mixture of quartz. It is known for its dark green base with deep red or green spots resembling drops of blood. Legends say that it is petrified remains of dragons, with the green being their skin and the red being their blood. The reason why I had to show you that is because that's not what they're putting in a supercomputer. But back in these old days, they would use these things for specific purposes for certain things that come into the realm. And we're here at that timeline again to where right here on screen, they already admit that so-called electronic blood is inside these supercomputers. And do you believe it's really electronic blood? That's your decision to make as I tell you more about the secretness that's going on here. Now, being cuprious oxide gemstone could hold the key to the quantum computers. And this is what it is right here. You only can find it in one region, and that's Nambia. Miners in these regions often interpret the presence of copite as a sign they were on track to uncovering abundant reserves of copper. Ancient civilizations believe it to be the blood of petrified remains. And so here it is right here where you see this rare gemstone. After the flood, this was believed to carry dark spiritual energy. And some traditions believe that their blood cried out to the heaven. But who would have the purpose and reason to use petrified blood? The blood of giants was thought to be used in sacred to fallen entities, using rituals to open portals to gain psychic abilities or manipulate reality. Kabbalistic legends, blood of ancient beings could bind spirits to unlock realms. Who would do this? Most cases, it's said that this was blood magic, where this was purposely put into a crystal. And they even play games and put it out there in the public's eye. But you see blood crystal, they throw it in video games and tell you that that's exactly what it is. And this rare gemstone that is going in the supercomputer that is already activated, why else would they need to use this? And what do they call this thing? They call it the Holy Grail. So the project lead of Dr. Hamid Ohadi, the School of Physics and Astronomy at the University of St. Andrews, says that making a quantum simulator with light is the holy grail of science. And this holy grail has to do with petrified blood. And it's just like when you talk about the blood of Jesus, what is the holy grail? It says in Christian tradition, the holy grail, a cup used as the Last Supper, is believed to have been used by Joseph to collect Jesus' blood after his crucifixion. When he was sold out and then the Romans went and executed him, apparently that blood was held out for thousands of years. Crusaders knew where it was. They hid it in other areas too as well. And that same blood was very powerful. So on the opposite side of that, they want to use giant's blood. And they won't tell you that this exists, but they'll tell you, oh, we found the dinosaur and some soft tissue and some fossils. And we could show you that there's some tissue in there. And we could show you blood vessels we found from a dinosaur when it was actually giant reptiles. That's what dinosaurs are, giant reptiles, giant reptilians. They found blood vessels in these things. It's hollow blood vessels, just like in our body. And they said, but their presence in nature is still unclear. The tissue Schweitzer found was fibrous, stretchy, and resilient. After being stretched, it returned to normal. But they have a hard time, y'all. And why do you think that is? Why do you think they have a hard time telling us that there's blood of petrified giants around us? It is because I believe, and I want to see what you believe, they did ancient practices and they held this blood and they keep it in underground chambers and they did their ritual purposes. And the only reason why a crystal or stone became the color it was, just like I just showed you, is because they specifically did that through some ritual. They alchemized it. Now, I want you to look at Mud Fossil University really quick because he breaks down a little bit more details on what blood looks like. And he got the biology of all this stuff down because he's been researching this a while. So check this out right here.
A statue del gigante, and it's like a resort area, but this was originally, I believe this was Gorgon, changed by a Gorgon. This is obviously a creature. That is that tendon. This is the red bloody stuff that's your flesh and tendons, I mean your muscles. His face, they tried to fix it up and plaster it back together in 1908 or something like that. And what I want you to look at is over there. That is his leg cross section. Now, I see biology. I don't know what you see, but I understand biology. I understand where the tendons run and the muscles and so forth, and what the leg would look like inside, and these bundles here. Now, this in my that's the back of the head. Look at that. That is blood. I'm going to tell you right now, and that is too. And this is exactly what I would expect to see on the edge of a bone that was at the top of where there was a lot of blood, and the blood is in the head a lot, and you see them here, here, and here. This is not something that is unusual.
This is what they don't want you to see. What do you thought about all this? And we're about to go even deeper than this. So we're talking about a gemstone that is from hundreds and thousands of years ago. So we'll just say thousands of years ago, just to be on point. So when we look at this thing once again, and I ask the question, who would be behind something like this? They had to know a lot more about this. They had to know something specific. And when I did a deeper dive on that, I found out that this was led by a researcher in the UK. It says UK's University of St. Andrews found that a special form of light made using the ancient Namian gemstone would be the key to a new light-based quantum computer, which will solve long-held scientific mysteries. It will be able to basically open up fields around us in ways that we wasn't used to seeing. Because if you're using petrified blood, in reality, you've taken something from a bunch of generations of civilizations, giants, and now you've attained this power and you put it in a machine. So I go to this university here, right? And not physically, but I want you to look at this right here really quick. And if you're here right now, you're alive. I appreciate you for being alive. I appreciate you for pushing back against the system. I appreciate you for seeing outside of the normal aspect of what we've been told. So if you take this here, it's a cult within a cult. They say St. Andrews University. They just finalized their agreement in 2024 for the master supercomputer plan. And here's a school. It was founded in 1413. It's the third oldest university, English speaking one that we have in the world. We're talking thousands of years old, where they have these secret societies. You got to pay $100,000 and you sign NDAs. It's like $300 a ticket. And only people can get in these clubs called the Praetorian Club if you are a member of that school. So it's private, and the secret society that runs it. And if you want to know what the word Praetorian refers to, is the Praetorian Guard, a unit of the Imperial Roman Army that serve as the personal bodyguards and intelligence agents of Roman emperors to anything related. So how convenient that the Romans basically take out Jesus, right? And then They call these people the Praetorian Guard, and they're the ones to put the blood of giants or petrified beings into a supercomputer. They know exactly what they're doing. Wouldn't you think? They're one of these universities that have deep ties. And I want to go into it deeper because if we go into the Nambian region, which they don't tell you, oh, it's not any giants in other places like Africa, is it? Well, we haven't been shown everything. And I'm going to show you some more of that because to get to where I'm going, you have to see where everything connects. So if you look on screen right here, you see that the green one is Nambia. And then up there, the orange one is actually Nigeria. And the reason why I'm showing you that is because if they got petrified blood in that region, they say it's rare. They had to get it from the same zone within those two areas. So a guy goes out there about a couple years ago. His name is David Nkiwa. I think his name is up there on screen. He puts his foot inside of this. You can see it's a footprint there where it basically looks like giant was walking around there. And, maybe these ones was like 20 feet tall or something like that. He looks at some rocks where they say, oh, well, it's just been a volcanic eruption zone. Well, volcanic eruptions don't look like this. Volcanic eruptions look melted. They look not fully square. These look like perfect rectangles, rectangular stones. What are you seeing on screen right here? Tell me what you see. And somebody says that's a small giant. Yeah, you're right. As a matter of fact, even across America, you may not have heard of it, but Captua was another giant that was being moved throughout the United States. Captua was a two-headed one, and he was only about, I think, 12 or 13 feet. But he was examined, and you can look this up yourself. Look up KAPBWA. The body was allegedly examined by a physician in the sign of 1960s who said that it showed no obvious signs of being fake. No other experts appeared to have examined the body, either to determine if it's genuine or if it had internal anatomic requirements to be likely to survive a set of isocephalic paraphagus twins. I think that's how you say it. So then we jump back into this whole supercomputer situation. So in Nambia, they got the gemstone. So we had to have some people back then practice these ancient magics, and they knew about this. Just like you say the blood of Jesus, they'll invoke the blood of the giants, the blood of the fallen ones. And it's what's happening right now is the spiritual battle we're facing right now. It's the changing and evolution cycle that they knew was coming. And somebody says Jack the two-headed giant slayer. Exactly. They showed two-headed giants in there, and they probably were referring to Capua. Now, going into this a little bit deeper here. The quantum-based computer, this is what they found. You need to look at this closely here so we can talk about this. To create Rydberg polaritons, which I was like, what is that? And we're going to go into that in just a second. The researchers trapped light between two highly reflective mirrors, a cupreous oxide crystal from a stone, mined in Nambia, the one we told you about, petrified blood, then thinned and polished to 30 micrometer thick slab, thinner than a strand of human hair. They filed it down that much and sandwiched it between two mirrors equaling a portal or a gateway in the universe. Okay, so next, to make Rydberg's polaritons 100 times larger than ever demonstrated before. So you just said to us that you were able to mirror something 10 times greater than before. And we got to get into Rydberg polaritons here in just a second, because that's another big thing, another big key into everything right now, because not knowing that is basically not knowing half of what's going on here. So before we go into that, though, I want you to see this right here. This capability could allow quantum simulators to solve important mysteries of physics, chemistry, biology. For example, how to make high temperature superconductors for high-speed trains, how cheaper fertilizer can make, potentially solving global hunger, or how proteins fold, make it easier for us to produce more effective drugs. That's only half of what it can do because they call it the Holy Grail. So moving further into what they was actually saying after we talked about that, we said the body and we examined that. What is Rydberg polaritons? Here it is right here. Check this out. After this, it's a quantum simulator particle. And so with these quantum simulators, this is what they all came up to do at the end of this. It's looking in like gleams into reality by using the blood of ancient beings. And it's basically carving out pathways of possibilities of what they could see happening. Because you see, they like to mimic what God does. They like to look into dimensions. And sure, that's all been something that they've been able to do by doing all these different things. But in the end game of it all, their empire ends up falling. But they end up weaponizing the fallen entities, the blood of petrified giants, and they end up actually using that in a supercomputer. And what does that supercomputer eventually connect to? AI. And when we say cupreous oxide, because you can go look up cuprite on its own, and cuprite is in, like I said, Arizona, Russia, it's in Africa. You can find this in a couple other areas. This one happened to be so rare, and the reason why is because magic was done to make this happen, most likely. So cuprite is an oxide material, and the reason why they say it's copper oxide, Cu2O, is what they mean by when we say cupreous cuprite. Its dark crystals with red internal reflections are an isometric system hexaoctahedral class, appearing as a cubic octahedral or dodecahedral forms, or in combination penetrating twins, frequent color in spite of its nice color, rarely used for jewelry because it's low in MOHS, hardness 3.5 to 4. So the hexagon is another thing they use. You gotta understand in symbology, hexagons, the people, the dark power, they like to use those things, Kabbalah. And so again, all this was in Kabbalah practice to start doing a lot of, and a lot of our government is actually into Kabbalah or Kabbalistic practices. And as we move into every new chapter of this information I'm presenting to you, I believe is a key determining factor in how they plan to push forward their agenda, how they plan to usher in the mark of the beast system, how they plan to usher in the Antichrist system as well. And you can look back in newspapers, in the Journal of Congress in 1896, things being published about discoveries of giants and the foots. And the reason we probably couldn't know much about them is because of what they were doing. And so if you've been gathering the blood of giants, or you've been gathering the blood of these ancient sons of God, fallen ones, you don't want the public to know about that. And then the whole theory of giants being in stasis underground, they could have the blood also in areas underground as well. The giant of Gilgamesh, they found that one. It looked like he was in perfect condition when they found him. So, and that wasn't debatable when he was found. Somebody says a museum doesn't allow you to know. Yeah, and the biggest cover up of it is a Smithsonian. And they don't want you to know. They only tell you about giant reptilians, which is they call dinosaurs, because they don't want us to know. It was a giant reptilian in Antarctica. You can look it up. Or that thing lived there for years and it got huge. And if you look signs of the ice and stuff like that, you'll find out obviously below the ground and it's even more than we know. So this is another thing they said. Making a quantum simulator with light is the holy grail of science. We have taken a huge leap towards this by creating Rydberg polaritons, the key ingredient of it. So this gets their empire prepared. This gets them prepared to serve the entities that they need to serve. And that's why I say that when we go through these phases, we go through these cycles, when we go through what we're going to go through in these next coming years. There is nothing more important than to be spiritually and mentally prepared. Because now that I've laid this out, I feel like this was something that was supposed to happen. I don't know anybody talking about it. I told you I sat down and things actually just come to me. And it's because not only in myself, like even in my mom, them and stuff like that, they get stuff, we see stuff that could potentially come. And so it's connection with God, connected with the psychic intelligence that we have. And I know this moment is a soul moment for society. It's not just for me, it's for like a bunch of people to hear this message. So this is going to be so important that they should be in churches talking about this. They should be teaching people about this again, but this is only going to be here on this platform, and only you could be the one to spread that message. Because we're going to move to these timelines, and they keep saying in 2027, they expect the serpent god to return. And I showed you the bloodstone from the serpent god in the beginning. Appreciate that super chat, Son G. And as that happens, it's just going to be this shifting cycle right now. And how do you feel about this shifting cycle? How in your soul and your gut right now? How do everybody feel as we move through? Because it's a different feeling from 2020 and back then to I feel like right now, because I feel like we can feel that not only we're going to heighten our spiritual awareness, and we're going to we're going to crush them spiritually. There is no way they're going to beat us. Their empire is going to rise. They're going to have everything they want. They're going to be dancing, and then everything's going to crumble. And they're going to realize, oh my God, we only have control of just this realm. And the souls here are rising, and we can't keep them down. And our time is really becoming up. So that's why they want to get as many souls as possible into joining the AI system of the mark of the beast system. We ain't saying just talking to an AI. We're saying like literally joining in and being taken. So we don't have this. We have this supernatural supercomputer that is not just a computer. It's run off of blood. It's run off of actual different brains. These people are sick. They're mad scientists, and they mean to take as many souls as possible. That's why every single day, everything gets deeper, and we start to realize who we are. And once we start to realize who we are, there's really nothing at the end of the day that they can tell us that can make us be afraid. So I just really think that this information here is the most pivotal parts of our next generation. And I hope that people look into this widely and do their own separate research, and then look and backtrack on things I said and find more stuff. And if anything else you thought that I didn't say, or you add that, or you correct me if I said something. So the thing is, this is what expands our spiritual growth here when we have conversations like this, because this is something that came from the soul and that was supposed to hit multiple souls. And I know that this is a factor that they are right now wargaming, and have probably been doing it for hundreds of years, because every piece to this shows the steps, shows the societies, the secret elements, and how it activates these crystals into reality to then punch through dimensions to bring those fallen ones to them. And on the other side of it, is us right now dealing with our own daily problems, dealing with our own daily issues. Not perfect, but in a journey right now, still fighting the battle, still continuously staying strong mentally, preparing ourselves, and remembering that we ain't alone in this battle. I realize one of us right here might be separated, might not be in the most best community right now. I'm in the same position, and if you are, you're in a great position. If you're not, though, remember, we're all separated, but we're still fighting this thing. We're still going through the warfare. And mentally, you have to just step away from the warfare, and you have to just take in what God is giving you on a daily basis and be thankful and be grateful. And I've even incorporated more time into my prayer, my meditation. I've been getting to it more, and it's a daily thing for me. There is no time for slouching right now, and I've slouched. I'm not criticizing or judging you, because the worst thing you can have is somebody judging you and telling you how bad you are and what you're not doing when they're not doing everything as well. So I ain't trying to be that person. I'm just saying in general, like we have all our gifts, we have all our abilities. Every last one of us has something that God gave to us. And then when we use that together, we can solve a lot of things inside of our own self and help a lot of people around us to get prepared for these times. This is what we were here for. So after we journey out of here, we're going to make sure that our mission was completed, because I feel that I'm here for a mission. I don't know if you feel that way, but I definitely feel that a lot of people passed away. And I'm like, well, if I'm alive, I have a really important mission. I don't want to let that mission be, wasted with my time. And we all can feel like time got wasted in certain ways, but it's about what we do today, tomorrow, and the next couple of days. People here are the remnant of the future, the remnant of the times where we stand up and we show, and no matter how much you put against us, a resilient soul will never be put down. And I want to thank you all for tuning in, and you can share this out. This is going to be a very important broadcast, probably the most important broadcast I ever delivered to you in my life spiritually. And there's much purpose behind it. It's up to the people where this goes. And I appreciate all of you. Stay around, subscribe, stay tuned. We'll have a lot more coming.